so funny. Hello. Welcome to the Pop Podcast. I'm happy that you've decided to join. We post every Wednesday, so you can check in Wednesday. You're watching this on a Wednesday, hopefully, but every Wednesday we post. So join us for the Pop Podcast. Thank you for being here now. With me today, per usual, I have a guest. I have Dan Blair once again, deciding to wear his yarmulke in today.
You ignorant normie. Daniel, this is not a yarmulke.
So we talked a little bit before. You were a fedora kid.
I did. I wore a fedora to high school a couple times.
A couple times? Literally a couple times or many times?
No, because I thought I was rad, and then I got to school and I thought I was less rad.
Yeah.
So I only wore it a couple of times.
That's my story too. I was a vest kid. I thought I was rad and kept wearing the vest. And I was. I don't care what other people say.
Getting back to this, this is not a yarmulke.
Oh, okay.
This is a Boston Scally.
Okay.
This is you even have
yes.
one on a little newsboy guy right there.
Newsboy. Yep.
Yeah, a genuine ordered from Boston, 5-panel Boston Scally.
It's awesome. It doesn't say made in China or anything. That's good. It's a good thing.
Yep.
That you're telling the truth. All right. Well, we have drinks as we do for everyone. I think that this one, So it's the Spindrift Sparkling Water. This is lime. It says real fresh squeezed fruit, but I don't think lime is a fruit. It would be a citrus.
Isn't citrus fruit? Because oranges are...
Are oranges a fruit? Is citrus a fruit?
I'm going to say yes.
It doesn't feel like it should be, taste profile-wise.
Well, I'm going to say yes, that citrus is a fruit.
All right.
Because I've heard it called citrus fruit before. Okay.
Yeah. I have too. You're right. All right. Well, you're going to have to rate it at the end of the podcast. So just be ready, be thinking about it. But don't give it away too much. So we were talking a little bit before that I had Zach on last week. We talked a lot about technology and AI. My wife said that she tunes out whenever I talk about AI. And I challenged her on that. Maybe we'll get into that later. But... So we were talking before, and you talked a little bit about how technology has changed so much from when you were first a sheriff's deputy, which is very different than a police officer, police department. That you've seen technology change so much over the years. Now you're retired, so you have kind of the 2020 vision looking back. So talk to me a little bit about how it started. With technology and police work, sheriff work, whatever you'd call it.
Well, I started with the sheriff's office in Placer County in 1999. When were you born?
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything. 98, so I was a year old or so. Yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't going to say anything.
That's okay.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
I prefer that to you saying like 2000 or something like that.
Yeah.
I prefer that.
Yeah.
I started with Placer County in 1999, and cell phones back then were becoming more and more common, but everybody still had a landline with an answering machine and that kind of thing. But people would have cell phones. Texting was there, but it was just super pain in the rear to do. Nobody did it. But people were getting more and more internet access. And from 99 until, 2003 or 4, I worked our patrol division and a little bit of corrections. And then I moved into school resource officer. I taught DARE with, you remember that? The drug abuse resistance education
I missed
curriculum.
It for the most part. It was there when I was in elementary school, but by the time I went to a private middle school though, so it could have still been there, and I just
it might have. Well, it was phasing out by that point, I think.
But I remember there was some drug thing when I was in 5th grade that I remember.
That might have been it.
I think it was DARE.
Yeah. So I taught that, but we were also school resource officers. So any issues that we'd have at school with the kids, we would deal with that. And for a portion of the time, I worked as an actual school resource officer at a continuation high school over in Auburn.
Okay.
And coming into prominence or use or whatever the word might be at that point was MySpace. And you've heard of MySpace.
Yes.
For those of you who have no idea what that is, MySpace was the pre-Facebook. People could put together their own page, and it would have, a song that you would say represented you. It would have the photos you wanted. It really was Facebook.
Yeah.
Before Facebook was there, and so kids used it, mainly kids, to create their own personas, and then they would also use that to socially network. Shocking. So they would put all kinds of stuff on there, like, where we're going to go for lunch, where we're going to ditch, where the party might be, what gym we're going to go behind and smoke out, and that kind of thing. So, as a school resource officer, my partners and I, we would go to their MySpace pages to find out what they were going to do. And it was very productive. And so we're getting, the technology side, it progressed from there. People were able to get.
So I just want to pause. So you would check out people's MySpace, and they would just. I'm not super familiar with MySpace. I helped my cousin pick a song for her MySpace back in the day, but they would post like Facebook, just like
images. There was a rolling commentary thing where people could comment on them. They could comment back.
Okay.
There was a big profile picture out front. There was backgrounds.
So they would just post a photo and go, "Hey, at 2 p.m. behind the gym, we're going to go smoke some pot."
Yeah, well, they would network with each other because you could have, you would have different friends linked together.
But like, it wasn't a private message. It was just on the front page.
It never really occurred to anybody that the cops would look at this stuff.
Yeah. So they would just network and post, but they wouldn't think that their parents would?
No, because just as is the case today, it was back then, that parents don't pay enough attention to their kids' social media or their cell phones or things like that.
Yeah.
Or, back then they would say, well, my kid's a good kid. Why do I need to check on that stuff? Why do I need to monitor their phones? So they wouldn't. So we would go and we would find out all kinds of stuff. By the time I left the continuation high school, I had a 4-gallon water jug that every time I would take a pack of cigarettes from a kid or a lighter or some kind of contraband that wasn't, something that I need to book for evidence or something like that. I would put it in there, and it was just full, thousands of dollars worth of cigarettes and lighters, and it was pretty cool,
man. So MySpace, you would just be perusing these kids' MySpace page, and they would say, "What? We're going to be behind the gym at this point." And then build me a scenario? Like, would you just send someone there? Would you just tell the teachers, or would you roll up?
Usually we grab the vice principal and the school campus monitor, and we would walk around to what was going on and say, "Come here," one would come from one way, one would come from another way. And you'd try to catch them, and sometimes they'd run off, but you know who they are, so you can, you go find them in class later, and then you bring them down to the office, and write whatever site you were going to write, or do whatever you were going to do, suspensions or in-house, whatever. Yeah, you would just go through the discipline process.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There were some. Yeah, it was.
Would there be like repeat offenders that you found on MySpace, their MySpace page a lot?
Absolutely.
Well, because you probably didn't tell them how you knew, huh?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You wouldn't tell them that, and they wouldn't wise up.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I worked investigations, I moved from school resource officer to our investigations unit. You would, if you had a suspect that you were closing in on for a case, you would go to their Facebook page, or some of them still had MySpace at that point, and the information that they would put out there, just astounding, absolutely astounding. What they'd leave out there for you to track down on them, or there'd be evidentiary photos online that you just download and put in your report, and then you could, I know people don't think, and they still don't. They think, social media, online stuff. It's just, it's really neat in a lot of ways, but I think in even more ways, it's dangerous to society, to culture. It's a false sense of truth and a false sense of relationship, And it was in the very beginning. The very beginning. Even then.
So what have been the shifts as you had seen students or people go from MySpace to Facebook to Instagram later to Snapchat to all those things? What's kind of the middle portion of your career that you saw technology affect your
It was the first time I had to address a junior high female sending inappropriate pictures to a boy because of pressure. And thankfully in this case, they weren't nude or anything like that. She was in her underwear, but having to address the parents of both sides, having to to know what the young woman was going through, or young lady was going through at the time, the embarrassment of having the whole world know about it. Watching her parents try and figure out how did this happen? My kid's a good kid. That for me was probably the biggest shift. And when we talk about MySpace, it became very obvious very quick that kids were sexualizing themselves in ways that they hadn't previously. And that was startling. And sad in a lot of ways. But that would probably be the point I noticed the biggest shift.
And was that a scenario you had to deal with a lot? Those sexualized pictures between
Thankfully,
teenagers?
not a lot. Thankfully, not a lot. At least in that the one I just described to you. Thankfully, not a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting. It has me think of in the past, if a boy was pressuring a girl or vice versa to send or to do something sexual, there would be signs of interactions that you would see, right? Like signs of this boy's always around and my daughter feels uncomfortable or my son feels uncomfortable with this girl being around. There would be kind of indicators. But now or then with a computer in your room, a cell phone in your hand, the pressure can be coming in, but you don't actually see the same signs that you did before.
Right. That's 100% true. And mentioned it just a couple of minutes ago that parents don't check and they aren't engaged and they aren't involved with that part of their kids' lives. There are parents who live as a hovering presence in their kids' lives, but won't look at their phone or won't put a something like Covenant Eyes on their household computers, and their response is, well, my kid's a good kid. They're not going to be into that stuff. And I can tell you from professional experience, you're wrong. You're 100% wrong if you think that that lewd, inappropriate, violent, you name it, content isn't going to find its way into your kid's phone. The kids don't have to go looking for it. That content is looking for your kids.
Well, and that's exactly what I was going to bring up. It's like, hey, it's not a question of whether your kid is a good kid or a bad kid and whether they'll get into that or not. It's that it will pop up on their phone. It will pop up on the computer, and they're not even trying. The amount of young people that go, I found pornography because of an ad on a kids game site that I was playing games on is astounding. So the content is not that your kid's even looking for it, but it finds them. And then because there's this narrative of like, oh, they're a good kid, they're a good kid, they're a good kid. Now, well, I'm a good kid, and my mom always says that I would never get into this stuff, so now I can't tell her, or now I can't tell my dad.
And I can't count on them checking and keeping me accountable. There were a lot of times, particularly at the continuation school, before cell phones were necessarily a thing, that you would be dealing with a parent and you would ask them, well, when was the last time, their kid got found with marijuana or something at school? And they would have to come in and pick up their child, and they'd ask, well, where did he get this? He didn't have that at my house. Well, lady, he said,
Yeah.
I brought it from home. So it's not mine. I believe you. It's not yours. Well,
Yeah.
where did he have it? I'm like, well, when was the last time you went in their bedroom? It's his space. I don't go in there. And I would literally have to say, your child does not have rights to privacy. And they say, well, I can't invade they don't have no privacy. They have no right to lock the door to their bedroom.
Yeah.
And that thinking carries over into the digital space.
It's very true.
To this day.
And yeah, I was going to bring that up too. I want to comment on what I had said before of, telling a kid that they're a good kid, making it feel like they can't come to you. It's really easy for us to sit here and look and go, or for me to sit here and look and go, hey, don't do this. But I think that there's grace for us all just trying to figure it out.
Yes.
And we can acknowledge that again, that privacy thing, I think, is the hinge point, is that so much, I know my parents viewed it this way, and that I hear parents view it this way as well, of, well, their cell phone is their space. Like they're entitled to some privacy.
Right.
And Satan doesn't think that way.
Nope.
The content on our cell phones don't think that way.
Nope.
Oh, they're entitled to some privacy. I won't show them this ad. I won't do this. I won't put this here. So it's not a determination of character. It's a determination of what is coming at our kids via technology, and are we paying attention as parents? And I know I'm not there yet with my kids, but I'm getting ready to be.
It's never too early to think about it. I know you know that. I am still shocked. Heard it recently. Well, my kid's a good kid. They won't do it. That's very bubbly, by the way.
I know.
It's delicious.
Don't chug it.
Excuse me. Very bubbly. And I've spoken to moms groups. I did presentations to parents groups for years while I was in schools, and I've talked to MOPS when it was happening here, and the message is the same. The content is looking for your child, and I don't think you can say that enough. It will find your child if they have a cell phone.
Yeah.
Period. Unless you get them something like a jitterbug.
Yeah.
Then that content will find your child, and it is designed to be engaging. It is designed to elicit the dopamine response inside the body. So the first time they see something, it doesn't have to be sexual necessarily. It could be some kind of violence portrayed in a way to elicit a positive response, like, yes, I agree with why that happened. So that triggers the dopamine response. It could be food related to trigger a dopamine response. This content is designed to trigger that, because they know that the first time it happens, it's similar to a drug hit for somebody that takes drugs for the first time. Most drugs don't actually. Well, what they do is they cause a reaction in the brain via dopamine.
Yeah.
So it is very similar to the addiction process, or it is the addiction process for somebody who is on narcotics. The first time it happens, it begins that addiction process.
Yeah.
Now, I am not saying that kids who have issues with pornography or food addiction or whatever are similar, are a narcotics addict. I don't want people to. Yeah. But the similarities between the two physiological processes,
how the brain works.
That's what happens. I think David's talked about that before.
Yeah. And these ads or these things like you're talking about, they're designed to get you to click on it. That's what they want. That's where they make money. It's views and how many people are there and what the ad and all that. And so it's gonna use science in that way to get you to continue to come back. And if you're not paying attention, then our kids aren't equipped to handle this. They don't know what's going on.
Adults aren't equipped to handle this stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Let alone kids whose, the male brain doesn't finish kind of growing and forming and reach maturity to what, like mid-20s?
25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea that a 16-year-old could handle the amount and the frequency and of whatever it is coming at them.
Well, and here's the thing that we're seeing is that really we're not talking about 16 for the first time. We're talking about 8-year-olds.
Right.
So by the time they're 16, there's potentially 8 years of this dopamine, seeking a dopamine response from whatever they're into, whether it's a video game or it's pornography or whatever it is. We're seeing by the time you're 16 and in youth ministry, you might have been watching porn since you were 8.
Yes. And that's not the same as finding the stack of Playboys at your buddy's house. No. It's not the same.
Totally.
So I am even now continually astounded that parents choose, and I really believe it's a choice. They choose to disengage from their kids in this aspect of their life. Yeah. People that spend years of their life with sports with their kids or with whatever it might be, ignore this side of it. And it just astounds me. Yeah. Just astounds me.
And we're all doing the best we can, right? And I think conversations like this help with what should I be focused on as a parent? And it has to be technology in today's day and age. But it's hard, which is why you would make the choice to disengage.
Well, yes, it is hard. And it was hard for our kids growing up. While they were growing up, I mean, it's hard for my wife and I, for Shelly and I. Yeah. Even now, it's for our kids, the way we did it with our kids, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong. This is just what we did. There's very much things that we would do differently now, looking back. But what we did with our kids is smartphones were around when my son Jesse got his first one, and I've told stories like this before, so it's not like I'm. But it was a little almost like a jitterbug, almost like a jitterbug phone, and because he was, we needed to be able to pick him up after school, or we was at that age where we were, leaving him for different sporting events, and we'd go pick him up. So we needed to have that communication with him, but we also had computers at our house, and he was at an age where he was needing to use computers for stuff at school, and so he knew very early on, the instant he got on a computer, Shelly and I sat him down and said, there is a thing called Covenant Eyes on this computer. And we let him know this is not a filter. We have this still too, by the way. You and I have talked about this. It is not a filter. You can look up whatever you want, but it keeps a record of everything. So if you look up something inappropriate, we're going to know about it. Yeah. And by the way, this is not just computer you have access to. This is on cell phones. This is on the computers in our house. So this is not just you. This is accountability for everybody in our family. Yeah. So and that as the years progressed, it was the same thing with our daughter Amy. They just became very used to an accountability structure at home. Yeah. If there was something we had a question about.
So I'm interested, why would you tell him?
I guess I would answer with a question. I don't know why we would hide it. Why would we hide that from him? We told him, the other thing we told both our kids is that if you have a question about anything that you've heard at school, rather than looking it up on,
come talk to us.
Come and talk to us. Yeah. There, you will, if you want to know what a word means, if you want to know what are they talking about, I will give you, your mom will give you the straight answer on everything. Yeah. Because we didn't want them looking it up and then getting who knows what from the internet or their friends. And that environment at home led to a lot of conversations where we were able to interact with the kids and guide them, in the way that they needed to go. Yeah. A lot of times.
Did they ever come to you with some shocking stuff that you're like, whoa?
I mean, I worked in a jail. Yeah. And as a sheriff's deputy for a long time, and I'm not going to. Yeah. But I don't know what that word means, son. Yeah. I'm going to have to ask around and find out. And then I'll go back and tell them. And then, this is why we don't use that word or that kind of language. This is And so you would, we go to them. We go to Scripture. What does Scripture say about this? So we were able to do that. And instead of letting our kids look up something on the internet and be influenced by who knows, we were able to generally speaking, influence them. And it wasn't perfect, but that is one thing we wouldn't change.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's cool. That's cool. That helps me. Gives me some tools of how to, structure that. Because I've always said, I really think in today's day and age, unless if you're just, hey, no technology, and then when they're a young adult, it's just no holds bar. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a matter of if about like pornography and some of this information. I think it's a matter of when and if they'll talk to you about it. I think it's, am I creating a space as a parent that my kid would come talk to me about it?
That's exactly right. Yeah, that is that is so true. It's not a matter of if that they're going to have a collision with pornography or whatever it is. Because, honestly, some kids, that's just not going to be their thing.
Yeah.
But they're going to be impacted by something negatively. And creating an environment where they're willing to talk to you about it, or where they know my parents are going to interact with us about this.
Yeah.
Then you set yourself up, I think, in the long run, so much better. And I do know that parents love their kids and are doing the best they can. I think this is, in a lot of ways, one area where parents are just missing it completely. And it's out of a desire to protect their kids that they hover. Mm-hmm. And it's out of, I think, a misguided respect for their kids' privacy.
Yeah. Or
just a genuine fear of having a hard conversation sometimes. Because these topics are uncomfortable. Yeah. Even,
Totally.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. They're uncomfortable. even talking about it with your own kid.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's what that means.
Yeah.
And yeah. I said it's I remember having like the F word discussion with our kids. And, you say, well, it means X, Y, and yeah. And it's a slang, but it's also a derogatory term. And he's like, oh, ew.
It's a bunch of things.
It's a bunch of things. And he goes, I didn't know. Well, now you know. So, yeah, have the conversation. Have the awkward conversation. I remember telling a parent way back in SRO days, if you need to take the door off your kid's hinges, you have to engage in their life. And the same thing, I just don't think I could violate their privacy. And well, then you're going to have this situation over and over and over again.
Not adults yet.
No, they are not. And this is your house.
Yeah.
I may be a little more hardcore about this, and I think I've told you that from the very beginning, when Jess would say things like, that's not fair. That's not fair. Shelly and I would reply with, stop. What's fair is that you pay us to live in our house.
Yeah.
That would be fair. And so we're a little, we were a little hardcore about some things, I think. It was funny. We'd be in the line at Rayleigh's and he would, start yelling, that's fair. And I'd look at him and he'd, okay, fine. Yeah. He's just a little guy. He's like, okay, fine. It'd be fair that I pay you to live in your house. And the checker and the people in line start laughing. And there was another one. I would say, knock that off or I'll beat you. And I was always joking with it. It was a smile. Yeah. But he got me pretty good once because he was starting to do something in line at the grocery store. And I looked at him and I didn't even have to say anything. And he knew what he was doing. He looks at me and goes, yeah, okay, I'll knock it off, Dad, or you'll beat me. And all around me. And people turn their heads up and they look over. I'm like, I'm not going to beat him.
I'm not going to look at him, inspect him. You think he knew?
Oh, he absolutely knew, I think. Yeah.
What a little punk.
Uh-huh. Yeah, little punk.
That reminds me, we'll go off course here a little bit, but especially middle school boys, will say like the wildest things out of just like naive of how it sounds. And so this one time I was driving some kids to Forward Bible Camp for fall camp.
Right.
And it was some middle school boys that were in my vehicle. And you know when you sometimes drive a little bit on the middle line, it kind of squeals a little bit? Mm-hmm. Well, on 193, I mean, it's such windy roads that like, you know, my tires would squeal a couple times. Just not that I was going fast. Honestly, I was freaking out. I was driving probably way too slow because it was the first time I've driven other people's kids in my car. So I was like freaking out. And Nick comes up to me like 4 weeks after fall camp, and he goes, "Hey, when you drove those kids, how did it go?" I was like, "I was really nervous, but it went well." He's like, "Okay." He's like, "Were you drifting around corners?"
Drifting?
And I was like, "Absolutely not." He goes, "Well, I just had a parent call me, and their kid said that you were drifting on 193." And I was like, "Dude, there's no way." And it was because the tires squealed on the paint that the kids were like, "He was drifting." And it wasn't like they were trying to get me in trouble. They were probably like, "It was awesome. We were drifting on 193." And it's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. They don't know how things sound.
That's great. No, they don't know how things sound. Yeah. So we told our kids, ask us anything you want and we will give you the straight scoop. And we did.
Well, yeah, I think just knowing you guys, I mean, your kids still want to hang out with you. Like, they still want to talk to you.
Or at least they pretend.
Yeah. But once they're young adults, they want to stop pretending on things, usually. So I think that's a testament to that. So towards where you were headed towards retirement, what do you think the shift is nowadays with technology? Sounds probably pretty similar to where it was in the middle there, but where do you think it is now? What do you think the dangers are moving forward?
I think they're the same, but more dangerous. If you're on social media and all, you've heard the term the algorithm.
Yeah.
And I'm not a math person by any stretch, so I'm not even going to try to describe it. But basically, it's this thing that learns, AI driven, a lot of the case now, that learns the content that it feels is going to give you the most dopamine hits. What are you going to continue to go back to? What are you going
clicking on that?
What are you going to continue to scroll to? And it is so good now, the algorithm and the AI associated with it, especially when you're in reels, you know, the video shorts, that it will suck people in, myself included. I'm on the verge of just getting rid of everything, just done.
I'm there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is so little that is redeeming about modern social media. There's very little I find redeeming about it anymore.
I just have a really hard time having a healthy relationship with it. Like I have a really hard time with that.
Yep.
I'll do months that are fine, but then there's weeks that it's not. And
there's very little redeeming about it. And knowing that now, if I had kids that were coming up into cell phones, I would be even more engaged with them.
Yeah.
TikTok might be one of the worst things on the face of the earth for true social interaction.
Yeah. And speaking of the algorithm, it's just my experience with it is that it's almost demonic, not in the sense of like, oh, we need to freak out, but in the sense of like, we do need to freak out. But in the sense of, oh, you looked at that for like 2 seconds? Well, I'll give you another one.
Yeah.
So like a moment of lapse in a lustful thought or a sexualized video that it's 2 seconds of watching, the algorithm will catch on to that and go, oh, you didn't immediately scroll past that. So here's another one. And then you'll scroll 10 times and you didn't see another one, but here's another one. Yeah. And oh, you saved for 3 seconds. So here's another one only 5 videos later. Oh, and it's almost symbolic of like, okay, here. And then all of a sudden your feed is boom, right?
And yeah, like we said, I mean, and there are people watching this who will say, well, I don't have to worry about my kid in pornography. That's why I keep bringing up the other things. Violence of a sort.
Yeah.
Or, you know, food issues or
totally.
Or, you know, envy of other people, or so there's all this content is just deadly, damaging.
Yeah.
It's nothing. There's nothing redeeming about it.
This Sunday I talked about it, but again, it's a disciple thing. Like it's an apprentice thing. It's a teaching thing. So if you aren't the primary teacher of your kids, then Satan is, and I would interject through social media. And I know Jesus has impacted social media and raising up influencers that are going to post about Jesus, talk about Jesus. We were just at an event last night, and a young woman got up there, talked about her testimony, and she found Jesus through social media. So it's not that Jesus isn't in it, that he's not using it, but I think that it's just say if you're not discipling your kid,
somebody else will.
If you're not teaching your kid, then the internet is. So what are we going to do? Right?
Yeah, be engaged.
Yeah.
Don't allow that little silo to exist in your house. Yeah. That goes for the parents as well. I mean, my wife and I have a rule of, anytime my phone, her phone, doesn't matter, if we can pick it up and look.
Yeah.
And it was the same with our kids. They could pick up my phone anytime.
Yeah.
And often, they did sometimes, like we're here, check out this picture that we took the other day, and then I'd walk out of the room and come back and find them swiping through whatever. And it was a great additional level of accountability for the family. And parents don't want to do that. Adults don't want to do that.
Yeah.
They're like, my phone is mine.
Yeah.
And maybe that's one of the reasons parents don't want to engage with their kids on it, because they realize they would have to be accountable in the same way. Maybe that's the reason.
So interesting moment of that. I was watching the Eagles game yesterday with my daughter Laura, and she goes, "Hey, Daddy, after this, can we watch Frozen?" I said, "Well, Sunday is the start of our week, so we only watch on the weekends." And she goes, "Well, then why are we watching the Eagles game?" I go, "Well, that's a great point." Because my answer wanted to be, well, because I'm an adult and I do what I want.
Yeah, and it's football.
Yeah, and it's football. And I said, that's a great answer. I'm going to have to come back around to that.
Yeah, it really kind of sucks when they learn how to use reason and logic.
Yes, but I think that's a real beautiful thing, that the accountability that you would offer your kids, you also extend, and you can look at my phone whenever you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they'd see through that right away. It would create resentment. And
there's a big trend right now between dating couples on social media that I've seen. I shouldn't say big trend. I don't know. But I've seen different videos of couples where they'll joke around and steal the other one's phones to see their reaction. And it's shocking, some of the reactions of people. And it's like, oh, you're doing something that you don't want me to see. What is that?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's one of those things of are we living a life that is exposed? Yes. That anyone can look at anything that we're doing. And if we're not, if someone picking up our phone and scrolling through it makes us very, very anxious, I think we should really press into why.
Yeah, that's time for a gut check.
And if you take your kid's phone and they start freaking out, why?
That's
on there.
Well, that's a guaranteed gimme.
And if the kid is saying, "Well, my privacy, you're violating my privacy," you don't have privacy in my house.
You don't have privacy.
Because my greatest responsibility as your parent is to protect you. So I'm gonna look through what's going on here, and because of your reaction, I'm gonna probably look twice as long. Yeah. Make sure I find whatever you're reacting about. Yeah.
Gimme.
Or just tell me. Yeah.
Can I add to something you said?
Yeah.
That I think protection of our kids, especially when they're young, that is very true. I would add to that, and this is a component that I think a lot of people miss, is that, we're there to protect our kids, but we're also there to prepare them and to be able to go into the world.
Yeah.
And so they lose sight of that second half of that, which is that protection and preparation.
Yeah.
Because at some point,
PP.
unless, yeah, yeah, I see what you did there. Yeah, at some point, unless you want a kid living at home, well into adulthood, they're going to be out there and they're going to come across this stuff. And if you've protected your kid but you haven't prepared them, then you have failed. And actually, I should.
That's really good.
But that comes. I don't want to say fail because that.
I hear you. Yeah.
That was. My mouth got a little ahead of me. I'll say it again. I know parents love their kids and they're trying to do the best that they can 100%. And the right thing for them. So I need to take that one back. But I will say that it is dangerous to not prepare your kid while you're protecting them.
We've all watched the young adult that wasn't allowed to do anything in high school, middle school, no dating, no cell phone. They had nothing. Now they're a young adult off to college, and they're the biggest partier because they weren't prepared or it wasn't explained to them why they were being protected from that so viciously.
Yeah, and
or I shouldn't say vicious, but so strictly.
Strictly. It's a scale. It's a sliding scale. I mean, protection for a very, very young kid is way high. Oh, yeah. And as they get older, that you have to, go like that. Move a little more. And eventually preparation is the top of the list.
In being a sheriff's deputy, I have an interesting question. I battle about this a lot with my kids of what was your standard or what do you think, I guess I'll talk more abstractly, what do you think should be the standard of when we're allowing kids to spend the night at a friend's house? Right. Like what are the things you look for? Because I stress about that a lot. We hear too many stories of sexual assault from an older brother, from an older sister, or from a young, like just siblings in the home. Like, I don't know that I'm not looking forward to that challenge when my daughter or my son goes, "Can I spend the night here?" And I don't know what the structure. I don't know. What do you think about that? In doing so much police work, I'm sure you've seen situations.
Yes, but I did not. I wasn't a crimes against persons detective.
Okay.
Which is the category that would fall under. I was, for those who are interested, I was a property crimes detective.
Okay.
So burglary and also investigated elder abuse.
Gotcha.
I don't know the statistics for what actually happens, but I think because those cases are so horrific, they are elevated up. I don't know that they happen as much as they occur in our conscious.
Yeah.
If that made sense. That was kind of a word salad. So first off, I'd say I don't know. My suspicion is that, and I could be wrong, they happen less than we believe just because of how horrific stuff like that is. So, however,
the adage of the internet gives us access to information we were never meant to have.
Yes.
Right. That we're worried about.
Or we wouldn't otherwise
these horrible things happening all the time because we're seeing what we were never meant to really know.
That being said, though, they do happen. They absolutely do happen, and I think it's a question that parents have to wrestle with.
So here's maybe the other end of like maybe that's the extreme of sexual abuse, but like my story, pornography was introduced to me by a friend that was held back, and so then I would go, what? Yeah, I don't know. I played around with the rule of like, hey, if there's a sleepover at my house, I'm taking away cell phones at the door, and there's not going to be any cell phones alone in a room.
That's a great rule. We didn't have to really deal with that when my kids were growing up, but our rules and how Shelly and I would focus on that is does our kid seem ready to go on a sleepover? Do they want to? Even one. And two, if they want to, do we think that they're ready to do it? And then the third thing would like, how well then do we know the people?
The family,
Yeah. And there were some times where we said, we were just honest with them. We don't feel like we know them well enough yet.
Yeah.
But we'd love to sit down with the parents and get to know the family a little bit if this is something that you really want to do. And sometimes they were like, nah. And then there were other times you'd set up going to somebody's house to hang out, and then you'd go and chat with the parents and, get an idea of what's going on inside the house and what it looks like. And,
Totally.
then you go from there. But we would do it case by case, but it was those three things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how much information we have access to and how that's altered how we do things. A narrative that I hear all the time is like, when I was a kid, I used to just walk outside my house and play in the park.
Yeah.
Walk down the street. I used to be out all day and then just come back at night for dinner.
Mm-hmm. That was in a lot of ways me growing up in the neighborhood that I grew up in. Mm-hmm. But we wouldn't go play in the park. We would walk, a mile down into the canyon and go swimming all day at the tubs, which was a succession of waterfalls over in Weber Creek. No lifeguards, no nothing. So we would do that.
But now with all the information we have access to, parents are, that stuff is happening way less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the free range kid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. David said a long time ago that parents need to give grace to each other because everybody is going to parent differently and nobody loves their kid more than that parent.
Yep.
And it is so easy for us. And I did it just a second ago when I talked about, that would be a failure. Mm-hmm. It is very, very easy to poke fun at everybody else or to find fault or to judge, what other parents are doing when they're trying to do the best they can. Every opportunity I get, though, I'm going to encourage parents to don't let that silo grow. Yeah. Don't let that become a thing. Have the hard conversation with your kid.
Yeah.
Have the hard conversation with yourself in the mirror, your spouse, whatever you got to do. Because, like you've said, that there is a world that is seeking your kid out.
Yep. And
if you ignore that, I think you're putting your head in the sand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just a lot there.
There is a lot
changing.
There is a lot there.
Yeah, you had a point earlier of kind of maybe false or counterfeit relationship.
From social media?
Yeah. And I really think that our world is headed further and further, deeper and deeper into that. I don't want my wife to check out, so I won't talk about AI again. But I think with that realm of things, that's where things are going, is that we're going to have more and more options for counterfeit relationship that will fulfill a need in the moment, but still leave us empty.
Yes.
And I think people are going to flood to places like churches and others looking for real relationship.
Yes.
And so then the question would be, are we ready?
No.
As Christians, are we ready to have real relationship with
because
people?
we're on social media the same as everybody else.
Totally.
And so, no, I don't think we're ready. I think the church as a whole, probably even us here, for sure, the church as a whole and us here, we could address this topic more if we really want to be ready.
Yeah.
Head on.
Well, this is a way to address it as well.
Yes. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, for sure. I wasn't trying to poke it at
not at all.
Your next sermon series.
That is not how I took it. Yeah.
Although, it'd be a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I see a future of having different, I don't know what you'd call it, sessions or 4-week things after church of like, hey, let's do a workshop on technology and our kids.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, let's do a workshop on real biblical connection with another human being. Mm-hmm. Let's do a connection on how do we interact as faithful Jesus followers with the LGBTQ plus community. Oh, yeah. Not to say that they're evil and wicked or they're far from God, but to draw them closer to Jesus. Like, what does that look like? I think there's topics like that as churches in general we can address and spark conversations on.
Would wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dan, for being here. being a part of this. We have our drinks. You said you like the Spindrift sparkling waters.
Very much.
Is this the one you buy? Not the You're not a Waterloo person.
I buy whatever's on sale.
All right.
I do buy whatever's on sale.
So
Polar.
you're just a cheap person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Polar, the brand Polar seltzer.
Okay.
Shows up a lot, but I do like Spindrift, and I like this a lot better than that hippie junk matcha stuff you gave me last time.
Listen, matcha is really good. That matcha was weird. So, but just don't let that be the determiner of whether matcha is good or not for you.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I think we could all say a prayer for Nick Bosa and his ACL and the Niners that just seem to fall apart every year over and over.
You just had to go there, huh?
Yeah. Your 5-panel genuine Boston newsboy cap really Scally really reminded me of ACLs tearing and falling apart and being delicate. This is his second one, right?
Yeah.
Is it the same leg?
I don't know. I just heard you just gleefully kind of.
I did not gleefully. I did not
your
gleefully.
Face.
No.
You were gleeful.
I'll tell you guys. Listen.
You were gleeful.
Just get into this. We were walking into the area here that we film, and I saw a thing that said Nick Bosa tore his ACL, and I went, ooh. I was like, I don't want to show you this. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. That is not the reaction. I was somber. I felt bad. And I proposed it to two 49ers fans with reverence and genuine heartbreak for the season being ruined.
Season being ruined?
Yeah. Who else is on your defense that's good besides Fred Warner? Name a player. Yeah, exactly.
Michael Williams, Bryce Huff, the former Eagle.
Yeah. You're right.
They're in. We're not going to get into this, but they're.
Listen, dude. The Eagles. Do you guys think you think your 49ers have a shot at Super Bowl?
Super Bowl? No. I think 10 wins would be a strong thing given their injuries this season if they were to pull 10 wins out.
Yeah. At what point is it coaching's fault for injuries? Because Niners are
they're the most injury-prone team in a while.
So at what point is it hey, there's some incompetence on our staff here, whether it's the doctors or professionals there?
I don't know. Although Shelley made the comment last night, and watching the game, she said, it just seems like there's injuries any game you watch now, more so. The blue tent's getting flipped over, and I don't know if it's because the NFL is paying that much more attention to it than they used to because of the concussion stuff from a few years back. I don't know. Or people are playing harder. Who knows? But it does seem like
small injuries on every play for sure.
Yeah. And feels are there more reported because they address them and then they can play longer during the season? Who knows?
But we're talking about torn ACL. I mean, Niners are having season-ending injuries to star players.
Well, there was Connor for the Cardinals yesterday broke his ankle.
Yeah,
a few plays before Bosa went out. So
well, nonetheless, the Niners, it's over. Wrap it up. Gift wrap it. It's done. Cut it. Eagles are going to the Super Bowl again. I didn't think that in the first half of the Rams game, but then at the end, I thought for sure we're going back. Confidence reinstilled. So. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. They probably already tuned out. It's probably just us at this point.
Yeah.
The moment I mentioned 49ers, I think a lot of people clipped off.
No, this church is predominantly 49ers fans.
It's true, but they knew when I was talking about it that they didn't want to hear it. So, thank you guys for joining and for watching. We see just a core of people that are watching this every week, and I see you, and thank you for interacting. I want to see comments. I want to see suggestions and interaction. We're trying to think of new ways to express this and continue to form this podcast and do things like that. So give us some feedback on how things are going. We just hope that this is a pocket of peace in your life, whether that's through correction from the Holy Spirit or just a moment to think about sports instead of the craziness of life, or to think about how to parent our kids in this generation. So I hope that you're catching some of that and that you continue to tune in. We post every Wednesday. So I love you guys, and I will catch you next Wednesday. Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.